the Evolution Security Podcast. All right, so you have chosen to join us on the EvoSec podcast. This is Aaron Davis and Eric Davis, identical twins, best friends.
That's right.
Guys on the same path. And we're here with you, our audience, that is joining us on the same path, the path of getting better at protecting ourselves and focusing on having a fulfilled life, because we're here to have fun, we're here to be healthy, and we're here to be passionate about the things we enjoy. So that said, Eric, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Very well said, by the way. And that is what this is about. You know, when we had Paul Sharp on last week, we kind of revisited the reasoning why we started this show. And I'll just be frank. I think and I kind of feel like it's been maybe some of our close, well, maybe not close friends, but maybe some folks that have known us for years that, you know, I don't know, maybe feel like maybe we're, you know, just trying to make a name for ourselves. And man, I hope those folks out there that might think something like that would say, you know, hey, we really are about this show getting better ourselves. Like you said, that last show, Aaron, that we're a little selfish. You know, we started this because we knew it would help us get better, you know, at the things that are important. Yep.
And not selfish in the way of, like you said, make a name. It's self-driven, maybe saying selfish.
Yeah,
saying the word selfish might be. I've used that word too, but it's there's a vested interest that we have in using this show, the people we talk to, and the accountability that we have to show up here every week, study, do our own work. The accountability that goes with that has made our paths better.
Oh, absolutely.
So this show has made us better.
And Aaron, it is another artistic outlet. You know, we say on a regular basis, we are artists. You know, we all the way through high school, at least, we, you know, did regular art. You know, drawing, painting, you know, stippling, all that stuff, all the way through high school. And of course, we're musicians, and this is just another medium. Another art medium and
medium of creativity. And along those lines, though, right, we believe we get a lot out of this. Yep. And we do it also for the listener, of course. So we believe that we put out a great show, and on that end, we would like now to implore you as listeners to help us out. It seemed we do know, and I'm not going to go deep into this, but there are ways that the technology companies do, big tech, they keep shows like ours and other great shows about self-defense, firearms, etc., deemed, you know, violent content, right? It gets covered up a bit. We believe that you get something out of this, so do us a quick favor. Go to iTunes and Spotify if you can, but give us a rating. Rate this show, and please give us some feedback. Write a quick blurb review of the show. What you love, what you don't love, both. So just it would be great for us. And again, so Spotify, you can do that too. And I believe, Eric, I'm looking for the feature on the website Listen Notes, which is a great site that you can do it on there too. But again, just do us a favor. We need to implore our audience more to do that. So just do us a favor, help us out.
Well, and Aaron, I would also like to add, and interestingly enough, I don't know if you've heard Lee Weems' latest show. It was really, really good.
I
By the
haven't, man.
way,
I'm back to commuting, so I'll give it a
yeah,
listen.
yeah, it's excellent. And and one of the things he mentioned on it was that he's noticed a little dip in his downloads.
Hmm.
And I went on his page on Facebook, and I just said, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know we've had a similar." I would put it, Aaron. I put it like a 30% decrease in downloads the last 6 months. Really, really bizarre.
Hmm.
Um, I think some of it, honestly, maybe the summer. That I mean, I also think there was a couple of months where we weren't dropping every week because of life and other things, but usually that didn't cause that kind of depression in downloads. So the fact that Lee is seeing it as well, I think there's probably a little bit of a pattern. But the other thing I wanted to mention too for our audience members, this is another challenge for you out there. If you would please go to YouTube, our YouTube channel. I believe I have it in the show notes. I should. If I don't, I'm embarrassed. If not, just look for EvoSec or EvoSec USA on YouTube and subscribe, to our YouTube channel, that is, because man, we get thousands of downloads and we got just a handful of subscribers on YouTube, which I know there's an aspect to that not as many people want to sit and watch a long form interview on YouTube. But heck, it could also help for folks that may just listen to us again asking favors. It sounds like we're begging, but hey, if you get something out of this show, do us those favors. And like Aaron said, on the audio platforms and then also YouTube, help us grow over there, and Rumble as well. You can find us on Rumble, same channel name. So
Yeah, if we
with
if we do sound like we're selling snake oil here, like no, or just really trying to sell things, it really is just we forget to ask our audience to do these things. So we just need to do it more often. Have that reminder, and I am embarrassed. I don't know if I've rated Lee's show. And that's one of the things that I'm going to go out and do because his show is awesome.
I don't. I thought I did, but if I didn't, I'll
I
double
may
check.
have. I just don't remember, but I'm going to make a
We're
note
gonna
to.
go out there and do that. Make sure any of the folks that we love. I know we've went over and reviewed Mike Seeklander and Rich
Oh
Brown's
yeah,
show. I know we went over and did that. So we need
they're
to
they're
return
the
that
kings
favor.
of this genre, man. Such cool guys too. So yeah, right. Okay, bro. Well, enough of that. Yes, please do us a favor. Help us out there. We would appreciate it. I think this is fun for me. So I had a doctor's appointment with my surgeon yesterday to get an update on my progress and follow up with him on how everything looks on my X-ray, and he said my X-ray looks great, my discs are moving great, and my fusion is not. So right, exactly what we want.
Yeah, awesome.
And one of the interesting things is I certainly have, I can feel how much better I grip a pistol already. I mean, I can grip it a heck of a lot harder. I bet you I'm gripping a pistol 40-50% harder now. But the
That's
interesting thing is,
legit,
of
man.
course, I don't have super huge biceps, but my right bicep was about 40% smaller before surgery. And all of a sudden it pumped back up to normal size. And I didn't understand that. It's like, I haven't built any muscle, right? I mean, I haven't been able to work out and I'm not strong enough to lift weights. But he said that that when I told him that, he said, "Okay, that's even more encouraging." He said, "That's proof that your muscles are now getting the electricity that they're supposed
Yeah,
to."
I was gonna say that's probably what it was.
The he said that the muscle fibers were simply dormant, basically, right? And getting the nerve impulses again woke them up, and they kind of plumped back up. And along those lines, I tried to see what I could do with the 25-pound dumbbell. Now, if I don't, if you remember, Eric, I could not lift a 25-pound dumbbell
I remember
above,
you saying that.
straight up and down. Uh, Yesterday, I was able to get it to about a 45-degree angle. So the strength exercises that I am doing are helping out. So I was excited to tell you that. So and
Man, that makes me real happy. Soon you're gonna be out there knocking out sets of 20 pull-ups and chin-ups, man.
hey, that'll be a while, but I do look forward to that. I can't wait to tell you and the audience that I'm hitting 20 pull-ups. But the other thing is, and it was fun, I just went out and asked him, I said, "Okay, I like to shoot pistols. Can I go shooting?" And he started shaking his head. And he goes, "No, let's wait on that." But it's funny, they start revealing themselves what they know. He goes, "Well, here, let's say after July 4th, go out and just shoot some 22 pistols.
Mm.
And then a couple more weeks, let's go to the higher caliber, higher recoil pistols. How's that sound?"
Cool. Cool.
So
And yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, sometimes you don't know sometimes doctors are right along with the people that don't get us, that like to shoot. And so it's fun when he starts rattling off, lower recoil rounds and bumping it up a notch when I get a little bit stronger. But I don't think he knows how strong I am now, though. But dude, I could run a pistol just fine right now. But I think what could be the issue is maybe because even 9 millimeter, you watch it in slow motion, you see that recoil ripple all the way up the shoulder.
Oh, I would almost guarantee you that's what he's concerned about, and what you're originally concerned about, because it is an impulse.
Hmm.
I sit there and think about, as I've been using those massage guns,
Hmm.
and interestingly enough, the first one or two times I used one of those to try to add a little bit of a different recovery process for after training is, Aaron, have you ever had a sports massage before?
Mm-mm. I've only
Like a
had
deep,
I've only had late night Asian massages.
no. So, well, they're very similar.
I'm sorry
So
that.
a like a so and it is funny. I'll just say that, there's a lot. I think some people, there's a lot of stigma behind massage therapy, but where I've got my massages is from my chiropractor's office.
Yeah.
That's where I
Okay.
first started doing it. And so it's no hanky panky in those, and I'm cool with that.
Eric
But
Lycon, have you seen Hall Pass?
I think so, yeah. No, I
He,
know I've seen it, but I think I
he
know the scene.
Yeah, what you here for?
Yeah, that
Y-
I do remember now. But yeah, so a deep tissue
Sorry,
massage,
tangent.
it deep tissue massage, you're sore afterwards.
Yeah.
It just that deep tissue pressure, and that those guns are the same way. It's just in a different manner. Like I didn't
Hmm.
think I was using it too hard, but it's just that rapid percussion. And I know it's not the same mechanism. I'm not saying that, but it just makes me think of that, that the recoil impulse and how it can still, cause a decent amount of inertia into your electro excuse me your muscular skeletal system. I've
Yeah.
not screwed
Yeah.
up that there.
Yeah.
So, well, Aaron, real quick, and I know you had a couple of subjects that you wanted to talk about before we get into this rifle and carbine discussion. But real quick, I just happened to be looking through. I don't know if it's coming up in the Book of Five Rings, Miyamoto
Yeah.
Musashi's book. I was looking for another quote last night, but I just happened upon something I did not remember from this book. It's been a while since I'd read all the way through this book, but it was germane to our previous guest with Paul Sharp, and this is a section in the book called "No Sword." It says, "Being swordless does not necessarily mean you have to take your opponent's sword. It also does not mean making a show of sword snatching for your reputation. It is a swordless art of not getting killed when you have no sword. The basic intention is nothing like deliberately setting out to snatch a sword." So I just thought, we were talking about disarms and
Hmm.
whatnot. And I know it's not apples to apples comparison, but for some reason when I saw that in there, I thought, man, this ancient or fairly ancient writing from a samurai. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think that's pretty a good analog for it, because I mean, he's just saying, don't I mean it, doing fancy disarms just probably isn't the way to go,
Yeah.
because you're taking somebody's
Yep.
sword.
Like Paul said, get a hold of that weapon bearing limb with two hands, two solid grips, and don't let them have it back. you
Yeah,
know?
I love the way
Yeah.
he puts it. Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
I need to text Paul and tell him I really enjoyed listening to what he had to say again. So, well, Eric, I think the topic I want to talk about later. So
Okay.
I'm gonna hand the floor to you.
Okay, cool. Well, we had talked about doing this subject, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. But really the impetus behind this subject, and frankly, it's about my desire. And for some reason, I've had this, I don't know, this deep down concern that I need to be shooting my rifle more. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just I feel like I'm slacking on rifle, but
I
I,
know
I
I
just
am.
thought, man, I just thought, man, I want to shoot a little more rifle or carbine, and so I had made the decision that I'm, at least for right now, each session I'm going to shoot about 30% of the session with carbine, and I'm not talking about shooting a ton of rounds. I'm talking about shooting, 20, 40, 60 rounds maybe, in these sessions. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be going to the range and doing some drills, so I'm probably going to spend the majority of the time carbine tomorrow, because I got some things I'm thinking about with actually some of the drills that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to spend a little more rounds tomorrow, and not as much on pistol. For pistol, I'm frankly going to go out and shoot B8s at 25, mainly slow fire. I'm just going to work on that for my bit of pistol, and then I'm going to jump to carbine. But anyway, Aaron, the impetus behind me um, starting down the path of more carbine and rifle was this book here. If the audience can see there, I don't know if you can see this as well,
Yeah,
but this is
adaptive rifle.
this is yeah, this is Adaptive Rifle by Ben Stoeger with Joel Park. And you can see on the front here that when I just showed it here, and one of the things I was thinking about, I'll just take a little digression here. I'm gonna start trying to share stuff to the screen more than just holding it up and whatnot. I'm sure our audience doesn't care too much about that, but there's dry fire training, live fire training, skill improvement, and benchmark drills. So that's the reason that I got on this subject. We're going to talk more about this book here just a little further in the show. But before we do that, I kind of wanted to make a few points. Number one, Aaron, do you happen to own a 22 rifle?
No, I don't, and I know
It,
what you're going to
and
talk
I don't,
about.
and I'm not at all trying to put you on the
Oh, I
spot.
know. That's fine.
Um, frankly, you can probably see this here. Man, this is straight up probably the most prolific 22 rifle there is, and this is a
1022.
Ruger. Yep, sure is. But you see, it doesn't have a whole lot on it. Doesn't even have a sling on it. I'm embarrassed to say. Of course, I've put quite a few rounds through this, but I haven't put near enough. And there's so much value behind the 22 rifle. So I was going to bring that point up. Folks, if you don't have a 22, I really recommend you get one for a couple of reasons. Number one, even though it's not near as cheap, Aaron, another digression. Man, I remember when I could walk to Walmart, walk down, walk to Walmart, drive to Walmart and pick up a brick of 22 rifle cartridges. I think they were, yeah, like 550 rounds for just around $10. Crazy cheap. Now, it's been a while since, because I had several thousand 22, so I haven't actually had to buy any for a while. But nonetheless, I just wanted to bring that point up because some of the stuff we're going to talk about here momentarily, man, you can straight up just do with your 22 rifle, and I encourage you to. And a lot of this, I don't know, Aaron, do you happen to go to Claude Werner's blog from
Yes, I
time to
do.
time?
Yes.
Yeah, I really like Claude, man. He's another wealth of knowledge in this industry. And in some fashion, some of the stuff that he provides tips on, man, it's some of it's just frankly, why aren't we doing this?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I think, and also Claude's a little bit nostalgic too, you know, and so one of the posts that I saw on his blog was teach your children to shoot. And again, this is on the Tactical Professor blog, which a lot of this I'm going to have. This is going to be a very show notes heavy um, show. And Claude says, in the current political situation, if you have teenage children and haven't taught them how to shoot a rifle adequately, you're wrong. Period. And he put period in all caps. I have taught a number of teenage boys to pass the Ohio police rifle course in just a couple of hours. Girls could do it just as easily. It's not the greatest qualification course, but it's short, easily administered, and someone who can pass it is a force to be reckoned with, especially from a fixed position or support role. With the exception of the reload in stage 6, the entire course can be done even using a tube-fed autoloading 22 rifle with iron sights. The reload can still be done with the tube-fed autoloader, but probably not in the same time allowed, which, to me, just kind of figure out what that additional time is and just add it, or just don't even worry about the time frame on the reload on that. Maybe
Mhm, mhm.
rifles in 22 caliber are highly lethal within 25 yards, often even with only one shot. So I thought it was cool that he put that in there, and he has in that post the actual standard or the actual qualification course. And he says at the end here, and I think this is kind of important to think about. Our great nation is in perilous times, and it behooves us to be ready for what's to come. So the Ohio Police Rifle Carbine Standard, and I'm gonna try not to say every single string in all these drills, but for this one, I'll go ahead and state it. It's pretty easy, Aaron. But states that the skills evaluated are multiple shots on target, headshots, failure drill, shoot from support side shoulder, reload, and standing to prone. So the distances are 5 yards to 50 yards, which that was a point I was going to make. the majority of the discussion this evening, Aaron, I'm focusing on 50 yards and in for two reasons. At least right now, civilians, that's like they're likely not going to take shots beyond
Mhm.
50 meters or 50 yards.
Mhm.
And frankly, you might have a difficult time articulating that in court too. We've talked
Mhm.
about that on
Yep.
here. Not that we're lawyers, but I think if you're taking shots at 200, 300 yards and claiming self-defense, that might be a little bit difficult. But if
You
times get
you
hard,
might get the chrome bracelets.
yeah. But if times get hard, all bets are off, right?
Mhm.
So you still should be able to shoot out the distance
We
decently.
we did have the toilet paper zombie craze of 2020, 2021, right? Those were rough times.
Yeah. So Aaron, this is shot on a OPOTC RQT-2 or a printable silhouette. And I saw a comment that somebody asked about the targets. And frankly, he said just any silhouette will do. And I agree with that. I mean, I don't have this particular target. When I shoot it tomorrow, I'm going to shoot it with an IDPA target. So anyway, back to the actual qualification. So it's 20 rounds. All strings start at low ready with chamber loaded. The first string is at the 5 yard line, 3 rounds total. You have 4 seconds for 3 rounds center mass. So again, 4 seconds for that. And you'll notice as I get through these, the time constraints are they're very liberal in my opinion. And once we get through these, I'll just mention it now. I believe, frankly, an advanced version, so to speak. I think you could actually split the times in half, and an accomplished rifle shooter or carbine shooter could probably do it in half the time. And I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is and try that out and see where that falls.
Are you
Because
talking about
part of
doing
this,
that with
there,
your 22?
I think I'll do that with my AR.
Okay, cool.
Um, but Aaron, that's again one of my thoughts lately. And there's all kinds of qualification courses out there. And some of our listeners and mentors can probably say, "Hey, Eric, what about this one?" Which I'd welcome that. If any of our esteemed listeners who are mentors of ours, or even just listeners, you've got any recommendations on some rifle qualifications, preferably that are within like this 50 yard. But hey, I welcome any others. You can send those to crew@evosec.org. So so that was at 5 yards, and at 7 yards. So there's 3 round total headshots. So on the signal, fire 3 rounds to the head. You have 5 seconds to do that. Next, at the 10 yard line, 3 rounds. You have 6 seconds to fire 2 rounds to the body and 1 round to the head. So a failure drill. At the 17 yard line, you have 2 rounds total, non dominant shoulder. On the signal with the rifle in the non dominant shoulder, fire 2 rounds, 5 seconds for that. At the 25 yard line, you have 1.5 seconds to fire 1 round. So again, it's center mass. I should be stating that. So 1.5 seconds for a center mass shot at 25 yards. Again, at the 25 yard line, you have 12 seconds, 5 rounds. So you load a magazine with 2 rounds only. On the signal, fire 2 rounds, take the kneeling position, reload, and fire 3 more rounds in 12 seconds total. And lastly, at the 50 yard line, 3 rounds total, standing to prone. So on the signal, from standing, assume the prone position and fire 3 rounds in 10 seconds. The passing standard is 80%. Now, you can kind of see on the screen here, this is the target that's used, or at least for the Ohio police qual. It's a fairly small oval in the middle, and the head, they seem to be about, I don't know if I had to put a measurement on it. Really can't see it in this. I would say they're probably, I don't know, 6-inch oval by, I don't know, 3.5 to 5. That's probably a lot bigger than. Anyway, scratch that. All I'm basically going to say is use any silhouette that you have, and just use the A zones. I think it's plenty good facsimile. And like I said before, Aaron, I think, if folks can easily do that, because I'm looking at these and I'm not all at all being braggadocious. I don't want it to sound like that, but a lot of these can be done with 100% accuracy and quite a bit faster. So I think splitting it in half, for a more advanced shooter might just do the trick if they want to add some difficulty to it. What do you think about that, Aaron? I know I sent you the printout. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to doing that because remember, one of the problems with my neck is being able to shoot prone. That's one of the things I'm looking
Oh yeah,
forward to a lot is being able to shoot prone. And once I'm really geared up, I'm going to take Kyle DeFore's. I think instead of his long range rifle, I want to take his long range carbine class. So,
yeah.
uh, because I want to put more time in on the carbine for sure.
And Aaron, I did see that he posted, and we need to be paying real close attention in case some of those fit our bill or fit our bill. Goodness, man, I'm having a little difficulty with the English this evening. So he posted that July 8th, he'll be posting the schedule for 2024.
Oh
So
yeah.
we might
Okay.
be
So
paying
yeah.
real close attention to that. So moving on, Aaron, unless you had anything else you wanted to add or talk about on that particular qual.
No, are you gonna? I'll let you go forward. Are you gonna talk about some AR stuff here in a second, or
Yeah, yeah, Aaron, I've got a little more to talk about. I got just two
okay?
more I guess qualifications to talk about, or just kind of breeze over.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other quals that Claude mentioned, and I'll raise this target here. Let me scoot back a second here. There's probably some audience members that recognize this particular target. There was a couple of times, once downrange, because we didn't have the facility to have the regular pop up 300-meter qualification. This is a target that can be used for alternate qualification, and Claude had posted on his site an alternate, which I'm not going to talk fully about that one. I'm going to post this in the show notes, of course, but effectively you've got prone supported firing position, prone unsupported, and kneeling unsupported. You got 20 rounds in the supported position and 10 rounds in both the prone unsupported and kneeling unsupported. And you're basically, I'm not going to prescribe or discuss everything on this particular one, but you're basically putting in each position around in each target. So not that big of a deal, but it's done at 25 yards. I will tell you, it's still fairly challenging. There's a couple times I cleaned it in the Army, but there, frankly, man, I had an easier time shooting 40 out of 40 on the pop-ups. But I did it a couple times with this particular qual.
Yeah, I'd
Now,
have to think about
Aaron,
mechanical offset at 25,
so
25
I'm
yards.
so glad you mentioned that. So this is my thought on that. Number one, I hate the 25-meter zero, because that's why the Army uses this, is because the Army zeroes at 25 meters. Well, what I'm going to do when I shoot these, I'm going to figure out, just like with a rifle, when
Dope.
you're,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, dope, exactly. I'm going to figure out what my 25-meter dope is, that I can go directly back to my 50-yard zero. which I don't think will be too difficult. I'm not going to shoot this very often, but there's going to be times where I'm going to want to,
So you're
and
saying, bro,
I'll just
are you
freaking
gonna so that begs the question, that's one of the questions I had. So you'll be
yeah.
running it behind you. Is that when you're doing carbine work, is that the rifle that you use behind you?
Yes, yeah, that's my main BCM, right? Yeah, so I just plan on figuring out what my dope is for 25 and then just changing it and of course writing down and probably simply memorizing as well what my dope is to go back up to my regular zero. So
So we're
that's
talking
my
clicks, or
plan
we talking
on
holdovers? I know it's not. I know this isn't a
click.
big
No,
deal to
no, I
people, but yeah,
not nah, bro. I'm talking
because
about
you're wanting to
actually,
do point of aim. So
yeah, point of aim, point of impact. So yeah, I'll actually change it, change it in clicks. So I wasn't going to discuss that one fully, and I won't talk about this one completely as well. But the Army, back when I was a soldier, the qualification was a little bit old school. It was done from a foxhole supported position and then a prone unsupported. But I posted this online talking about the actually commenting on Lee's show where and I'm gonna mess up and forget the his I think his first name was Dave. I'm sorry if I forgot his name. Forgive me. But yeah, he's a soldier, a newer soldier, infantryman, and some of the things they were talking about reminded me of going through basic and BRM or basic rifle marksmanship. But the new BRM and qualification is actually a little more realistic. It goes all the way from uh, prone supported, prone unsupported, and kneeling supported and standing supported. So it's, if you can imagine, kind of one of those barricades that has step up,
hmm
steps. That's what they use for it. And I found, and this is another thing that I'm going to put in the show notes. There are certain Army publications that are unrestricted that the public
hmm
can download. And I don't know if you tried it or not. I actually tried it
I
on my
did.
phone, but I sent
I did.
you.
It works.
Were you able to? Were you
hmm
able to download those
Yep.
TMs?
Yep.
Awesome. So I'll make sure that I have these in the show notes, and both of them are the Army and Rifle Carbine Training Circular 3-22.9. So basically, it's basic AR and M4 rifle and marksmanship, rifle marksmanship. So, I mean, for folks that may be brand new to shooting a rifle, I mean, there's a lot of decent information. And to me, Aaron, they're also nostalgic,
Yeah.
nostalgia to me. And then the qualification training circular is 3-20.40. So, in that, I found a newer scaled this 25 meter dropping stuff here, this 25 meter scaled down target. They have another, it's not a qualification any longer, it's a validation is what they're calling it, but it's actually a lot more interesting, and it goes through the prone unsupported, prone supported, kneeling supported, standing supported. And this is one thing I thought was pretty cool. Well, two aspects of it. Number one is they use dummy rounds in one of the magazines to induce a malfunction, so you have to clear it. So that's part of the part of the drill. And between positions, you only have on the beginning phase or basic phase, you have 10 seconds to reload your rifle and move to the next position.
hmm
So this whole drill is done with a time constraint. Now, each magazine, and again, you're firing one round at each one of these scaled targets. You have 1 minute total for each magazine. So essentially 6 seconds per target. And then the intermediate phase, you split that in half. So you can only spend around 3 seconds per target. So 30 seconds per magazine. And then you only have 6 seconds to transition or reload and transition to the next phase of it. So I mean, frankly, I mean, pretty decent drill in my opinion. So again, I'll put that in the show notes as well. I'm kind of excited about doing a few of these just because I think there's utility in it, and the fact that it's only at 25 meters, or if you have to do it at 25 yards, yes, it's a percentage closer, but still, there that's something that folks can go grab these targets.
Yeah,
I got
just
these
do the
off
work.
of, yeah, yeah, exactly. So, Aaron, I know I'm kind of moving through these pretty quick. I'm not blabbering on too much, am I?
Nope. It,
So, Aaron, I go ahead.
no, no, no.
What?
Waiting
Why
on
don't
you,
we?
bro.
Why don't we change gears? Why don't we change gears a second, and I'll close the show with this book. Is that cool? Do you
Okay.
want to? Do you want to
Yeah,
jump into your
but
subject real quick?
I do want to quickly say so. This is the carbine that I'll be using when I start doing some carbine work with the LPVO. Now, so this is a nothing super fancy. It's the Viper PST Gen 2 1 to 6. Pretty cool scope. There's just no way I was gonna spend 1,500 $2,000 on a razor or a night force. This scope
Well,
will match me pretty well.
interestingly enough, Aaron, that's something that I was actually going to bring up on here. Man, when I was younger and my eyes were a little more capable, I had no problems shooting damn accurate with a red dot optic out to 200-300 meters.
Hmm.
I can still do it now, but it takes me a lot more time and a lot more refined time with the site. And so yeah, that's something that I'm definitely going to be doing. I'm thinking about, at least with this particular rifle behind me, I might get a 3x magnifier and see how that works for me, because I still love having that red dot sight. And
Hmm.
on one of my other ARs, I might do an LPVO, but I got some thinking to do on it.
I think one of the risks of doing the 3x magnifier is if you have bad enough astigmatism, you basically create a little comet right in front of your eyes. So just, I guess,
Yeah,
check
yeah.
it out. I don't know if you've ever looked through one of those or not.
I
It's been a
have,
while since I have.
I've actually shot a little bit with them, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's certainly been a while. We'll see. Worst case scenario, I have it on one of my rifles, and then I make my main rifle one with the LPVO. You know.
And one thing that I can say, I said it before when I first got my eye surgery, but boy, I can see the reticle and everything so much better. That there's on my long range scope. Boy,
Hmm.
there is information on that reticle that I didn't even know existed because I couldn't see it until I got my eyes fixed. So I'm looking forward to putting this thing to work, and I'm looking forward to jumping down on the ground, getting in the dirt, and going prone. So
Yeah. Well,
do
now
you,
you gotta go ahead.
you finish, buddy?
No,
Just
no. I was just gonna say, now you have a few drills. At least from the ones we've been discussing this evening to play around with.
now, I'm curious what LPVO do you have in mind?
Possibly the same exact one.
Hmm.
Yep.
Bear in mind it's a little heavy, but
Yeah. That that's
I
the
don't know.
that's
I
the
don't know how much lighter getting a night force or I mean I think the Vortex Razor, which is one of the best LPVOs on the market, I think it's still pretty heavy. So
yeah, and that is one aspect that I like having a lighter rifle, but frankly, man, that the LPVO, I think it just might be what I need to just jump on. We'll see. I got some thinking to do about it. And I actually have been eyeballing some of the Night Force ones, but man, I'm just gonna say it, man. I guess I'm being a little frugal right now. We'll see. I could possibly justify it. Well, Aaron, maybe the best idea is for just me to run over this part of the book real quick, since we're still on that subject.
Sure.
I kind of stole the thunder for a second. Well, so Aaron, I just wanted to kind of read, Ben Stoeger's thought process on what this book is for. It just might give folks an idea if this might be something they're going to be interested in. And he basically says, "Welcome to Adapter Rifle. The book is a training manual that should guide you from rookie to competent with your practical rifle shooting. This material is structured in a way that if you have no prior experience doing serious firearms training, you will obtain the tools you need to get where you want to be. Serious firearms training is a regular activity. It is a part of your life that you practice on a routine basis. Most high-level competitive shooters train with their equipment on a near daily basis in order to get their skills to the highest level possible. Dry training at home is the primary way this is accomplished," which is a big aspect of this book. I mean, all the drills in here, the majority of them, they prescribe dry fire drills along with them. So that's a cool part of this book. So this book is a culmination of experience and knowledge shared between Ben Stoeger, Joel Park, Matt Pranka, and many others. And he goes on to say that, and I'll just paraphrase this, a lot of what's in this book, of course, came from Ben Stoeger's experience, but also a lot of it came from Matt Pranka's help, which Matt Pranka, for our audience out there that may not know him, he's a former unit guy. And the other thing that I'm going to drop in the show notes is a video of Matt Pranka shooting this drill so that folks can kind of see what it's about. It's a pretty aggressive drill that we're about to talk about, but I'll just say it right now. The idea behind this book, and there's all kinds of drill prescriptions that aren't specific to the culminating drill. But the intent behind this book is for you to be able to pass Matt Pranka's CQB warm up, is what it's called. With that said, Aaron, real quick, I can just go over what that drill is, and man, we can move on to your subjects. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold this up and let me know if you can see this. So essentially, there's two IPSC targets, and the shooting positions start at 40 yards, 20 yards, 10, and 7. So 40 yards is decently close, but a medium distance as well. But man, this is a uber aggressive drill, though. So the regular version of this, Aaron. So you got the two targets, and they're pretty much right next to each other, up to a yard apart. So from the 40 yard line, all this, or the bulk of it, you're starting in what he calls the hunt position, which is actually a regular low ready. So upon the start signal at 40, you'll fire 2 rounds per target from standing position, and then drop to prone and fire 2 more rounds, 8 rounds total, par time of 6 seconds. Man, that's pretty darn quick. I'm going to give that a try tomorrow, that specific piece. But man, 6 seconds to do all that at 40 yards, I'm pretty impressed with that. So the second string, again, starts at 40 again, and it ends at 20. Upon the start signal, fire 2 rounds per target again from the standing position, then it says move up. It means run, like sprint to the 20 yard line, and fire 2 more rounds per 2 more rounds per target. Goodness. And the par time for that is 9 seconds. So from the 20-yard line, ending at the 10-yard line,
So this is the
at
third
the
string.
start signal, yes, third string, thank you.
Mhm.
Upon the start signal, fire 2 rounds per target from a standing position, then move up to the 20-yard line and fire 2 more rounds per target from a standing position, 8 rounds total, par time 7 seconds. So the fourth string, upon the signal, fire 3 rounds per target, transition to pistol, and fire 3 more rounds per target. 6 rounds rifle, 6 rounds pistol total for 6 seconds. 6 second par time. At this point, your rifle should be empty, right? So the next string is 7-yard line. Start with an empty rifle, shouldered, mag inserted, bolt locked open. Sorry, buddy. A little bit dark in here.
That's fine.
Aiming at the target through the sights. Upon start signal, transition to pistol and fire 3 rounds per target. Par time 3 seconds. Let me make sure that I thought that was the. Okay, never mind. Yeah, this is a reload. So again, from the 7-yard line, start with an empty rifle, shouldered, mag inserted, bolt locked open, weapon on fire, aiming at target through sights. Upon start signal, reload the rifle and engage each target with 3 rounds, 5 seconds total. So yeah, so that one before I might have screwed some of that up. No big deal. But the one prior was essentially transition drill. And so the last one was a reload drill. Hopefully I didn't mess that up too much, Aaron. Did it sound like I was at least decently descriptive?
Sure. Yes.
And the scoring is using USPSA minor scoring. So 5 points for A, 3 points for BC, D zone 1, misses 0 points. Now, that's a total of 240 points possible, and you have to be able to at least get 204 points to pass with that standard.
Hmm.
Now, there are relaxed standards. There's a couple of lesser difficult, but that the one that I just described is the standard. Now, the relaxed standard, for a majority of it, you just add a second of the par time. That sounds like a pretty spicy drill, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, and I've watched him do it. So yeah, it is spicy.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean I know that was a little bit of a quick discussion, but I hope the audience got something out of it. The main point is, folks, is that if number one, you're a brand new to a carbine, there's a lot of people that have bought carbines in the last couple of years. A heck of a lot more people have them
Thank
and
God.
may not know what to practice. Yeah, exactly. Thank God we want as many law abiding citizens to have the good old black rifle as possible. And the main point behind this discussion tonight, Aaron, is that, hey, if folks don't know what to practice, this is a handful of things that you can practice. Also, what I didn't discuss because I didn't think it was important for this audio discussion, but also Recoil magazine, again, another, I don't know, something pointing at me saying, hey, you need to discuss this. Recoil magazine posted an article about shooting positions with the rifle, and it goes over a bunch of different positions, but it was kind of another thing saying, hey, Eric, you need to talk a little bit more about rifle and how we can get a little bit better with them. Now, Aaron, in closing, to move on to yours, I do want to emphasize I'm not at all saying that folks shouldn't be out there trying to push to medium distances. If you've got the capabilities to shoot it, 2, 3, 4, 500. I mean, I think some of the best standards are around 3 and back, 300 meters and in. But if you have that capabilities, you should be trying to get good at that. But I'll be honest with you, if you get really good at these scaled down drills and standards, you'll be able to do decently at those distances, hitting
Mm.
man-sized targets. And actually, I forgot to mention that that's one of the things that Ben Stoeger mentions in his book. He said the intent is for you to get really, really good out to 75 yards or meters with your carbine, with decent precision and speed, but also to be able to hit man-sized targets out to 400. So, I mean, even though most of this book, I think the furthest distance you shoot is 80 yards. Um, if you get really good at shooting very precise at those distances, you're going to be able to hit man-sized targets at more medium distance. Wouldn't you agree, buddy?
Oh yeah.
So, man, I think that's about what I got tonight, man. What you want to talk about?
Well, so it's just been something on my mind because I've been watching the news, and forewarning audience, if you don't want to hear us talk a little politics, we can you can bow out now if you want to. But the issue is, right, is that with this right to protect ourselves, and we're sitting here talking about AR-15s, etc. Of course, that is political, and we know you vote one way, you're voting for more gun control. You vote the other way, you're probably voting for less. That's all I'm gonna say. But so eight about 8 days ago, last week, the U.S. Third Court of Appeals, a three-judge panel, reversed an injunction that what a lower court in New Jersey had on the new concealed carry sensitive places law that New Jersey Governor Murphy signed into law. I believe it was last December. So it's been in litigation, and this is just an example of this happens all over the place. In a lot of the anti-gun politicians or advocates, etc. It's they have this attitude towards people, that citizens that carry guns, that they're the problem, right? So that's why I'm focused on this. This just I'm going to try not to go rated R in this, Eric. So you know, catch me and hit the dog bark button if you can. Ruff, ruff, up. So,
That always cracks me up.
but so yeah, so this the Court of Appeals basically reversed the injunction on that lower district court in New Jersey, basically handing the law back in the hands of New Jersey's governor and the executive and legislature to enforce. Some of it got struck down, but the majority of it is still in place. I just want to read some of this language that some of these politicians use describing people that carry concealed, and the language is pretty appalling to me. And then we can discuss that on a different note when I read it, though, Eric. So this is from New Jersey's Attorney General Matthew Platkin. We are extremely grateful that the Third Circuit recognized what we have always said. New Jersey is likely to win this case because our sensitive places law complies with the Second Amendment, and the Third Circuit correctly stayed the district court's dangerous injunction. Let me go back up a second. The third court correctly stayed the district court's dangerous injunction that allowed individuals to carry weapons into places like parks, zoos, libraries, museums, bars, casinos, and permitted demonstrations. This is a tremendous win for public safety, and we will continue fighting for our law. Now, I'm just going to continue because that's the spirit of most of this stuff. And this is the governor responding. Because of this decisions, excuse me, pardon me, because of this decision, guns will not be allowed to proliferate in locations such as parks, beaches, libraries, bars, restaurants where alcohol is served. This decision will make New Jersey a safer state for all of us and will ensure that New Jersey continues to have among the lowest rate of gun violence in the nation. I don't think I really need to read much more on this other than they they they're going to make they're going to ensure that the state of New Jersey is safer, remain safe, like they say, by reducing where citizens can carry a gun to protect themselves. And I did see one quote. I wanted to focus on New Jersey politicians in this because there's lots of comments from people from what's her name, Gabby Gifford's organization. They get a little bit more hyperbolic, but it's again just the focus that they use this language that intimates that law-abiding citizens that carry pistols are the problem. And let's see here. What did he say? Again, repeating what the governor said. This decision, guns will not be allowed to proliferate in locations such as parks, beaches, libraries, etc. Dude, to me, when I hear that, parks, the beach, things like that, where you want to be able to protect your family, but see, we're the problem, we're the danger. That's what it was. Somebody cited a study that said just this year alone, there's been 500 mass shootings already. Studies have shown that when there's more guns in locations, there's more violence. Dude, and unless someone's just casually talking about studies, if they're talking about studies in this instance that covers people's rights and their ability to protect themselves and their families in public places or in parks, etc. Using that kind of language when you're saying studies, cite the freaking study. Don't just say
Yeah,
studies. We know
absolutely.
you're freaking lying. We know that person has cherry picked a bogus study. Cite it so people can judge it. But that they so I say all this to say, Eric, that this kind of language making people that want to carry a concealed weapon for protection for themselves and their family, when it's like a parachute, is it not, Eric? Hopefully, we
Hmm.
never have to use it. But if you need a parachute, you need a parachute, right? So, but
Absolutely.
again, they're stating that those people are the problem and are going to cause more violence. That's just it's infuriating to me. And like I said, I'm gonna try not to cuss here. The
Well, Aaron, if I can just say a few things. Number one, yeah, I get tired of hearing folks that, especially on the left, that they like to just throw out, "Hey, studies show." Well, again, like you said, let cite the studies. But I tell you, who has cited all kinds of studies and done a lot of the research himself is John Lott, and I have
mhm.
to admit I don't have his updated version. But again, I'm gonna be careful. I'm not contradicting us because I don't have that in front of me. But it is very easy to grab that book and see all the studies that have been done that show time and time again that where citizens law abiding are allowed to carry, crime precipitously goes down.
Well,
Violent
and
crime, murder, so on and so forth. Yep, go ahead.
in that instance, right? It will be great to cite a specific study on that. But here's what is an anecdotal study we can do ourselves. Where are the stories of people that had a legal concealed carry permit going around and being and just shooting people willy nilly? It doesn't happen. It doesn't
No,
happen.
it doesn't. That is the point. Is that
So on
and
that
that was
instance,
the other thing that go ahead.
how are you going to have? I guess you can try and correlate shootings with people that have a legal permit to carry or they carry legally under a um, a constitutional carry regime in other states. But the point is, you could do a study on that quite easy because since someone is registering to get their permit with the state, you get all the people that have a permit. You can do it blind, right? You don't have to give people's information. I'm just saying there's a way to do this and see how many
Mhm.
of those people have shot somebody illegally or unjustified shoot. Of course, there's going to be some people that shoot unjustifiably. Um, but it's not that they're in response to something that they're afraid that they're going to be murdered or harmed. And but again, we can find how many of those people that have a concealed weapons permit and have gone on to commit crimes or especially some sort of public mass shooting, right? That they're into
Aaron,
again, they're linking people like us that want to carry a concealed weapon to protect ourselves as people that are very have a high probability that's what they're acting like, a high probability of having some mass shooting of some sort. One of the real types of mass shootings, which are public shootings where people just start shooting people randomly in gatherings, etc. the
well, and
that that
that's what I was about to say.
I was just saying that
Go ahead.
500 shooting figure. Of course, we know that is a figure that they try and act like is the type of real tragic incident where some evil person shoots people at a school or back in I think it was New Jersey or in New York where that guy opened fire on some people in a market. They're acting like those
Yeah,
500
in
shootings
Buffalo.
are like that, but
Yeah,
they're not. What
they
they're talking
certainly.
about, I believe the definition, Eric, and I'm sorry I keep talking over you. That the definition is four people shot in one location other than the shooter. Okay, we know
Yeah,
full
and
well that shootings like that happen fairly often, and it's not this type of public shooting. It's criminal activity. Okay, most of these shootings they refer to is criminal activity, which would mean criminals shooting other criminals too, right? So,
yep. Yeah,
but
and
Eric,
a good majority of what are deemed a mass shooting are gang shootings.
yeah, and that's what I'm
You know.
saying. Certainly. So,
Yeah, and one of the other things I was going to say, Aaron, is that the flip side of this is this double speak or news speak of safe places.
mhm,
So what you're saying, these politicians, both, I mean, the responses to the Bruin case out of the Supreme
mhm,
Court was
and that's what
it
this
was.
law
I mean,
was.
and I had no idea. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was naive, man. But when I started seeing New York immediately Hochul, that freaking, I'm not going to say it, that person coming out immediately and passing that law for say, I mean, by my remembrance, New York's even worse.
Mhm.
I may be wrong on that. I should have that in front of me, but New York, New Jersey, they definitely essentially made it to where you can't hardly carry anywhere. you
And of
know,
course, one of
and
the sensitive places that they use are public transportation hubs and stuff. Dude,
yeah, which is where the majority of crime is happening in New York City. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
so and then if someone's traveling, that means that they have to leave it at home anyway, right? So that
Yep.
negates everywhere that day for them, right? So
Yep. Yeah,
now,
and again, safe places, but Aaron, this is the point. Those safe places are safe for criminals to carry
mhm,
because they don't give a shit about these safe place laws. So they know that they're going to have, you know, unarmed people, law-abiding unarmed people to prey on. So yeah, these reactions to Bruin, it just is infuriating to me seeing these politicians. Essentially, they are even worse trampling upon the Second Amendment using these safe
and
places and
especially
whatnot.
going
So
from we support the Second Amendment and people's right to go hunting
yeah, when the
uses what
Second
they
Amendment had nothing to do with hunting,
yeah, but
it just was a byproduct of being able to have firearms. Yeah, you can hunt, but it's not about hunting. And frankly, and I'll say this about the Second Amendment we've talked about before is that self defense is a byproduct of the Second Amendment. You know, because the ultimate reasoning behind the Second Amendment, which we probably say too often, and preaching to the choir, was definitively to maintain a free state. You know, I mean, against tyranny, against foreign invasion. That's the sole reason for the Second Amendment. The other benefits are byproducts.
again, it's mainly about the language that infuriates me is them equating citizens that want to carry to being the problem and the danger. And Eric, we can end it like this. Why? So those politicians and advocates that use, or activists, I guess is the correct word, politicians and activists that use that kind of language, how many of them truly believe that? Or how many of them actually know it's BS, but are just using it because they assume their voters are too ignorant to understand it? I mean, what is it?
I think it's a combination, all the above, frankly. Yeah, and I'll just add this, the first clause, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, which of course is the whole text. Now, that is another issue that infuriates me too. Time and time again, they try to use the well-regulated as, oh, well, then the Second Amendment doesn't say that you can't regulate firearms. It says it right
Hmm.
in the text. I heard a leftist say that just the other day. When again, I think in many cases they are ignorant, but we know that of the vernacular 18th century was well regulated meant well capable and in order, essentially
Yep.
paraphrasing,
Well, basically, just well prepared,
well prepared.
well practiced, well prepared.
Yeah, so again, that they try to use that language to again enact legislation that's unconstitutional. But yeah, man, that was a good discussion. I appreciate you preparing that, and that's certainly something that is good for folks to think
Well,
about.
and
And
I'll
I
just
know,
end it
go
like
ahead.
this. I know this could be offensive to some, but Er New York, there are a few states that I will not travel to unless I can't get out of it. Now, I'm not gonna, if I have to go to, if I get asked to go to one of these states for work, I will try to get out of it if I can. But for personal reasons, I will not go to at least a handful of states New York and New Jersey are on that list. And I'm sorry because I know we have listeners in those states. God bless you guys. I know you are as frustrated and more frustrated than us.
They're in occupied territory,
Hmm. But
like Red Dawn.
it's not about the wonderful states those are, the history in all
Yeah,
those states, and California is
California.
another one. Man, I want to go to the redwood forest so bad, but I just do not want to. The point is if you travel someplace, you pay that government taxes when you're staying there. I don't want to pay those places taxes
Mm,
that
good point.
that make these laws against their people in their states.
Yeah.
So, but and lastly, what really got New Jersey on my radar with this stuff is that this young African American single mom that got her concealed weapons from Eric, I believe, in New York. Do not quote me on any of this, but I'm pretty sure I have the specifics on this pretty close. That she lived in New York and had to drive to New Jersey for some reason
Mhm.
and forgot to I think she maybe assumed it was okay for her. Now we know you need to know the laws of the state you're going into, but someone with not clearly not intent to commit crime. She's a single mom. I believe she was a nurse. She traveled into New Jersey. They threw the freaking book at her.
Yeah,
First
I
offense.
remember that. It's
th-
been a while since that
It's
happened,
been
right?
man. That's probably been 10 years, 8 to
Yeah.
10 years. But ever since then, I've been so frustrated about New Jersey specifically because that just sticks with you when true injustice is done like that, and you're just throwing the book at a.
Well, Aaron, I'll just add this example, and I'm not going to be able to state exactly where some of these locations are, but there are places throughout the United States where you can be in one state on a highway that crosses over into another state momentarily, that you're committing a felony for 2 minutes, and then you're back in that state again. As an example, it's just nuts, man. And in those cases, you need to try to find a way around that, frankly, if you want to be technical about it. But does everybody do that? No, not necessarily. But man, what if something happens, get pulled over
Yeah,
for some
well,
reason on 5 miles worth of highway that's in a occupied territory?
full
So,
circle. Where are the studies that show the the rash of concealed carry permit holders committing crimes?
well, Aaron, listen, bro, I got to teach jujitsu in the morning. I think I'm gonna get off here and start winding down so I can get me a decent amount of rest before I'm up at 0434.
Well,
I actually wake up about 4:20 or 4:25 usually, but where the 4:34 comes from,
oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
Jocko up
I know
before
you
the
do.
enemy on the back of your T-shirt. Well, I have one
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But
Cool.
man, we'll have
All
a
right.
good night's rest and have a good time at jujitsu here pretty soon. About 6 weeks, I'll be able to start heading back to jujitsu too. I'm looking forward to that.
Um and I'll keep sending you some videos. And BJJ Fanatics, you mentioned that, Aaron. BJJ Fanatics, you can. It's not a membership. There's just videos that you can go on there and buy. But watch for their specials too. But Aaron, I'd be glad to um, point out the most crucial videos that you can buy on
Go
there.
ahead and buy. Yeah,
And
that's a good idea.
yeah,
Give me some filtered
yeah, that
information.
that's the best way to do it. Yeah, a lot of it's John Danaher's stuff, man. A lot of it. So yeah, and after jujitsu, and I'll shut up, is I sometimes I like having training days, so get my jujitsu workout done, and then I'm gonna head to the range right after that because man, it's getting hot.
Oh, it
So
is.
I'm gonna jet home after jujitsu, and I'm gonna grab my range gear. The bulk of it's packed already, and I'll head to the range, get my shoot on. So, well,
Sounds
man,
good.
you have a
Yeah,
blessed evening. It's great talking with you.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say when you say it's hot, literally in the last about 3 days ago, it became summer here in Oklahoma. Went from okay temperatures, maybe sometimes hitting roughly around 90, not much humidity. It went straight to 100 and high humidity. It's pretty bad now.
Yeah.
So, well, bro,
Yep. So
have a good
early
night.
morning shooting now. You too, bro. Love you,
We'll
man.
talk to you. Love you too. Take it easy.